I self-motivated really well to do it. Like, I wanted to make better videos because I enjoyed watching them. So that was kind of my motivation. And then when other people started enjoying it, I was like, this is the best thing ever. If you are strictly becoming a content creator or a streamer because you see how much money people can make from it, I don't think that is a good foundation to becoming a successful long-term streamer. As easy as it does sometimes look from the outside, it is not. It's not that easy. For all of my 20s, my habits were just content creation, YouTube, streaming. Nothing else really mattered. Have to get these YouTube videos up. I have to get them out on time. Like, sorry guys, can't do that. I have to do this. You know, for 10 years I did that. And then it was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. I want to have a family, get married, and do all the things that I need to do, that I want to do to make my life more fulfilling. And so that was when I had to really kind of bring things back down to a normal functional level.
What's up, everybody? This is the Becoming a Streamer podcast by Pipeline. I'm your host and co-founder of Pipeline, Snoopeh. For those of you that are new to the podcast, this is where we bring on your favorite creators and learn about their journey and understand, like, how did they get to where they are? We tease that out a little bit so that it can help you on your journey. Today, I'm joined by an incredible guest. Not only does this person have a little bit of experience, they have a lot. They've been in the game since 2006. They have seen other creators rise and fall. They've seen different games be popular, not be popular. They've switched games multiple times and have a really unique perspective on the industry. Not only that, he's a family man. He has a kid, he has a fiance, and he streams 6 days a week, has 3 YouTube channels, has millions of followers across Twitch and YouTube. Everybody, this is Goldy. I think you're going to absolutely love this one. Before we jump in, if you could do me a favor, I would love it if you enjoy this podcast, please share it with a friend. That's how we get the word out. So if you enjoy it, let a friend know. That's super helpful to us. Okay, let's dive in and meet Goldy. GoldGlove, welcome to the Becoming a Streamer podcast. Do you go by Goldy? Do you go by Brennon, GoldGlove? Like, what do you prefer to be called by?
Yeah, no, I mean, people call me everything, really. I think usually just Goldy. I don't know. Goldy's been this name that's kind of, I don't know, just people started throwing it around, and I was like, you know what, man, I should just go by Goldy at this point. Like, GoldGlove is like, you know. So Goldy, Brennon, it doesn't really matter. You can call me GoldGlove. It's the only thing I don't like is gold or glove. I know, which seems weird. I know that seems weird, but I just, like, I know, like, if I ever see that in my chat or if someone refers to me like that, I'm like, okay, well, they don't really know me. Like, they don't really watch my content or something like that, which is fine. Like, it's not a big deal. It's a thing, you know?
Did you ever think, like, you're going by Goldy, you've been knowing that for so long. Did you ever go, I need to rebrand?
I technically did. So my original YouTube that I started content creation on was the GoldGlove 07. And I actually lost that channel due to some things. But I made GoldGlove TV. And then that's kind of where I just stayed with GoldGlove. But yeah, I've thought about, like, just dropping GoldGlove and just going Goldy, but it would just be so hard to change everything, like socials and getting all the links. So I'm just like, it's not worth it. I'll stick with GoldGlove. People call me Goldy. It's all good. I'll stay right there. So
yeah, glad, at least you could make that decision. It's like one of those, you have so many decisions to make on a week to week. Like, I have found peace with this. Yeah. I'm just going to stick with what it is. I'm not going to deal with it.
Exactly.
So Goldy, you've been in the game for a long time. I think if I have it right, your first YouTube video that you uploaded was in 2009. Is that right?
2009. So I think it was actually earlier than that. So you're referring to my first YouTube video that was on my GoldGlove TV channel, which, like I just mentioned, I had a channel before that, which is actually back on YouTube. You can find it again. So what happened was it got removed for, like, copyright issues. And then years and years and years and years later, the copyright stuff went away, and the channel just came back. So I don't know how, but it's just sitting there now. So I think my first video was actually from 2006 or 2007 is when I made my first one ever.
Holy, I assumed, I was like, wow, he's been in the game in 2009, but yeah. Okay, it goes way back. So 2006, that is early days.
I think it was like right when YouTube started. It was when the YouTube play, like, the screen was a 4x3 box. You rated videos on a 5-star system. Like it was completely different. Like I've seen screenshots of it, and it's like it literally just looks like I go back in a time machine. But it really wasn't that long ago. I mean, that's when I started it. So yeah.
Do you remember why the hell you got into it?
Yeah. Oh, I know exactly why. So I got really into Gears of War. I got a Xbox 360, like pretty much right when it came out. So 2006. I got Gears of War, and I became completely obsessed / addicted to the multiplayer of that game. And so when I wasn't playing it, I was thinking about it, and when I wasn't thinking about it, I was watching it. So I went on YouTube and I searched videos, and really nobody was making videos. Like I was like, okay, there's nobody making videos for this game. I guess I'm gonna be that person. And so there was like a couple, there was a handful, but literally, I'm not kidding, there was probably maybe 3 or 4. And I watched some videos, and I was like, I could do that. Like I was 16, 17 years old, you know, I was cocky, and I was like, I'm better than these kids. I'll make my own videos. And so that's how it started. And I went out and I researched a capture card, and my capture card showed up, and I started recording, and I just started making videos. That's how it happened, and I loved it.
It's just fascinating. Did you have any comparison? Because this is so early. Like now it's like you see Twitch, you see YouTube, you see, you see all this stuff, and you're like, there's kind of like a precedent. There's like, this is what gets done, and you can apply the same kind of formats to other things. But back then, were you seeing any other games? Was there like StarCraft or Halo, or like, was there a comparison for you to go, well, what would it look like if I brought Gears of War to this space?
There was Halo. So what I got really into was montages then. It was just all about showing off, the cool gameplay, just making a badass montage. That was really my main focus. I was a montage kid. So I would record for like a month and then make one video. So that was what I would do. And there was Halo. Really, the only other big montages I remember watching then that like kind of inspired me was Halo montages. Some of the pro teams had montages that were made throughout from all their competitive gameplay, and I was like, holy, this is just amazing. Why are people not doing it for Gears? I'll do it. And so that's when I started teaching myself how to edit, and I would watch these Halo montages, and I was like, okay, that editing looked really cool. How did they do that? And then I would research it, and I would go on YouTube and try to find tutorials, or I would, that's how I learned. And I learned everything like that. Granted, there wasn't as many resources as there is now, right? Like you could YouTube anything now. Back then it was few and far between, and not a lot of people knew how to edit and how to use these programs, but there was a couple. And then anything I couldn't find, trial and error. I just tried everything, and I just taught myself.
Did you have friends, like, was there either online friends or buddies IRL that were like into the same thing, or were you just carving your own path here?
I mean, I was the first one to kind of find it, and then I was showing my buddies it, and they were like, oh man, that sounds really fun. A couple of buddies bought their own capture cards, and they were recording stuff and making videos and stuff. But I think out of everyone, I was the one that kind of just like, I got so into it. Like I became obsessed, right? Like it was just the only thing I wanted to do, the only thing I thought about. And like I said, a couple of my other friends have done it. My good friend Vern, who used to go as Loading God Mode, we met on Gears of War, and he was kind of a content creator around the same time. Like he was making YouTube videos. He knew who I was at the time because Gears of War was like a very small community. And he's still making content. He's still a streamer today. So, there was a few people, but out of my friend group, no, it was me. I mean, I was that guy who just was spending all his time playing Gears and making montages. So
I think that point around obsessiveness is like, you almost need it because it's so challenging, and there's not a lot of reward in the beginning. Like if you don't have that fixated mindset, like you're probably not going to push through. What made you, like, did you expect viewers, or do you just like, I just want to put this out? Like, what was your kind of expectations in those early days?
So that's the thing. It's like now, you have all these big giant YouTubers that get millions of views. And so when you think you don't get that, you're not doing as good as them, right? When I was doing it, nobody was. I mean, a big video back then was like, I don't know, got a couple thousand views. Like that was huge. So honestly, I remember uploading my first couple of videos, and I told myself, like, I don't know if anyone's going to watch this. Like I actually made the first couple just for me and like my buddies. Just be like, yo, check this out. Look what I did. I made this video, and my friends would watch it. And then people just started searching for those types of videos. And then people just kept coming back. And it was just like, when are you making your next one? And I was like, oh, this is cool. I got obsessed with the comments, like just people liking my video. I literally became obsessed with it.
Even if it was just one person, two people, like
Yeah.
that feedback loop that you were getting was enough to keep you going through.
Yeah. And it didn't, like, my first couple of videos did nothing, they did nothing. And then, it's funny because I used to think that like some of my Gears videos like took off, like they were huge Gears videos. And for the time they were. And then I look back and it was like one of the biggest videos I had was like 150,000 views, which is nothing to these days, right? Now people are, they can do anything, get 150K views. Like, it's just nothing. It's just so different. It's just mind boggling. But no, I self-motivated really well to do it. Like, I wanted to make better videos because I enjoyed watching them, So that was kind of my motivation. And then when other people started enjoying it, I was like, this is the best thing ever. Like, I get to play video games and share it with people and they like it too. Like, this is a dream come true.
You mentioned you started that journey at like 16, 17.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, like you start to get like a little more life responsibility. Maybe you're in a school or like something like that. Like,
yep.
Did you get confronted with like a conflict between what you wanted to do and what you kind of had to do?
Yeah, and I did what you shouldn't do in that scenario. I ignored all the things I was supposed to do, and I only did what I wanted to do. So my junior year of high school was kind of when I really, really got like probably way too into Gears of War and making YouTube videos. And that was the same year I tore my rotator cuff. I was like super into baseball in high school. Like, that was my thing. I was going to go to college, play high school ball, or play college ball. And that was my plan. And when I got hurt and I couldn't play anymore, I just basically said, fuck it. Like, I'm not going to, I just don't care anymore. I'm going to do what I want to do. I don't care about school. I just slacked off, and it was not good. It really was not good. I had a really bad year. And then I don't know, I think it was like my senior year of high school. I just kind of had a moment where I was like, okay, I got to stop doing this. Like, I got to have a balance. I got to figure it out. So I was able to kind of bring it back a little bit and do the things I needed to do. And I graduated and was going to college, and that's kind of when I got confronted with another path, a little crossroads. It was like, do I want to focus on content creation full time or focus on school and college? And that was right when money started being introduced to the equation. And that's kind of what really changed my path. So,
yeah, so to be clear, like, we're talking about your kind of growth journey. You're doing these on the side. It's a passion project, but you're obsessed.
Absolutely, yeah.
It wasn't really seriously a career, right? You would have spent all your time doing it, but it wasn't like this is a legit career at this point.
There was no money. Nobody was making money on YouTube for the first 3, 4, maybe 5 years that I was doing it. Or 3 years. I would say 3 years. There was no one there was just no money. I mean, YouTube was probably making money off our videos, right? But there was no partners. There was no MCNs that you could sign up with and give your videos to. I mean, that was all before Machinima, which I'm sure you know all about. Machinima came through and kind of changed the game forever. So
I think it's good perspective. Like, now today it's almost all about money in a way, which is kind of
it hurts
good and bad. Like, there's a lot more opportunity at least, which is cool. But like, this perspective, you were grinding for like 5 years before you seen anything really material where like this could be taken seriously. Is there any perspective that you think you wish that creators today would have that maybe you had back then, like an ignorance or something?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it is a career and a job now. But I mean, I'm a huge advocate. It's like, if you are strictly becoming a content creator or a streamer, or because you see how much money people can make from it, I mean, I'm sure there's the anomaly, but I don't think that is a good foundation to becoming a successful long-term streamer. Like, you have to have a passion for it. You have to have a love for it, because it, as easy as it does sometimes look from the outside, it is not. It's not that easy. And there's so many things you have to do. And so I think that's really important. Like it really frustrates me when it's like, I read things. Granted, I feel like I don't read it as much as I used to. But it's like, man, I've been streaming for 3 months and I haven't made any money. And I'm like, why? Like, that's not what you should be streaming for. Like, I get it. Like, it sucks that you're not doing that and you see other people's success, but like, that's not why you should be doing it. So I don't know. That's kind of my take on that.
When you think, like, you mentioned the money, so I think there's this or there was, at least, I think the narrative starting to change a little bit, which is like, I want to be famous, right? I want everyone to know my name on YouTube. I want the clout. Oh wow, like I'm seeing, Ninja fly private. Like, oh, I would love that lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
There's that side, but then there's the side of I'm working this 9 to 5 job in Best Buy, and I don't no thing to anyone about working at Best Buy, or I'm a tech driver, whatever it is.
Right.
I would love to do something that I'm more excited about.
Absolutely.
Which is content creation. I'm not asking for millions. I'm not asking for, all the followers or the money. I just want to make a living doing what I love.
Of course.
Do you think that is a fair?
Yeah, I think that is
approach?
fair. I think that's a extremely fair approach. There's nothing wrong with wanting to live comfortably and do something that you enjoy. I think everyone wants to do that. But I think people also sometimes are not realistic. I see a lot of people kind of take the leap from, hey, I quit my job today to stream full time, but they're not in a position where streaming can support them full time. Which I think, like, I'm not much of a risk taker. At least I don't feel like I am. And so, like, seeing people do that, I'm like, that gives me anxiety. Like, I wish the best for them, obviously, but man, I do see that a lot. And I feel like if you're in a position where, like, this is a perfect example. My now fiance, Steph, when we met, she was actually working at a video game publisher. She was actually working for Ubisoft, and she was streaming as a hobby on the side. She wasn't making that much money, but she did it because she enjoyed it. And she did not change gears, as in, like, leave her other job and stream full time until she was in a position financially from her stream where she could support herself. So, and I think that is the way to do it. Like, you got to put in the extra hours, and you got to, your hobby streaming can sometimes feel like a full-time job on top of your other real full-time job. But unfortunately, that's sometimes what you have to do to make sure that things are going to, pan out and work. So,
yeah, I think there's too many people rushing into it. It's like,
yeah, exactly.
And they get a rude awakening of how, to your point that you made earlier, is like how hard it actually is. It looks easy, but it's
so volatile too. Like, long-term success, continued success on these platforms is so difficult. And it's especially because, like, you could have a huge boost in subs 1 month, you never know. And then the next month could come crashing down. And it's like, oh my God, I thought I was going to have that money this month too, and like, that's scary. And it's very different in this. I mean, granted, some streamers don't deal with that, but most partners and affiliates, they probably have that. It's not a consistent, they know exactly what they're going to make every month, and that can be scary too.
What was that fork in the road that you were mentioning, like, Steph, your fiance, like, her process of working at Ubi and then getting to a point where what was your process? Like, when could you say, like, this is it? Like, I am all in on content creation.
So for me, I was my first year of college. And I was already making videos. Granted, I had been doing it for a couple of years. And it was something that I was still just super passionate about.
When we were making videos, what kind of success were you seeing, just to give people context?
Oh man. Then I think that was when Modern Warfare 2 came out. And back then I really can't remember. It was so long ago. In monetary, we'll just put it in a monetary value. My first paycheck that I ever got from Machinima, this is when, like, they just rolled that out. It was $3,000 for a quarter of work. So 3 months of work for $3,000. You know what I'm saying?
This is after doing it for like 4 years.
Exactly. That was the first time I'd ever made money. The first time. And that was for 3 months of work. And I was like, well, I made money. And my parents, at the time, my parents were just so like, oh my, you made money from that? Because I've been doing it for so long. And I was like, see, I told you, money. I made money. And they're like, well, that is money, but it's $3,000 for 3 months of work. I don't know, you're not, what, you can't
What's
do
funny
that.
is they have a perspective. They're like, you got bills to pay,
Yeah,
you got
exactly.
a roof to get over your head. So there's like a
Exactly.
perspective they have you don't have yet.
Exactly. And I was like, it's $3,000. What do you mean for making videos? And they're like, yeah, but that's $3,000 for that's not enough. You're not making enough money. You can't do that. And so I was like, God, it's just okay. But in my head, what they were saying was you got to go get a real job. But I was like, nah, I'm gonna keep focused on school for a little bit longer, and I'm gonna keep making videos and see if I can make more. And then once I got to a point where I was making enough money to where I could, take care of what I needed to take care of, that was when I was like, okay, do I need to? I was like, do I need to stay in school and lose out on potential, my money making time because I can't make as many videos? That was where I started thinking, or that's why I started thinking. And so I finally decided, okay, I can go back to school whenever. But right now I'm making money from doing something I love. And this was early on, right? So I was like, this could be gone in a year. I don't know what, this isn't going to last. There's no way people are going to continue to watch videos, gaming videos, and we'll make money from it. So I took the dive. That was like my big risk. And I was like, okay, I'm done with school. I wasn't really focusing on it anyway. So I feel like I was kind of wasting my own money, my own time. I wasn't really there, and that's when I kind of took the dive, and that's when everything changed.
When everything changed, so mentally you're all in.
All in.
Your
Yeah.
hashtag all in at this point.
All in. Yeah. That was it.
What did you actually see the results? Because you had your first quarter fees. Like, what started to change from that point where this is like legit and your parents are supportive?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, so then we were getting paid quarterly. So this is actually interesting. This is when Machinima was only doing it. So you had to become a Machinima director, and you would submit videos to them, and they would upload it to their channels because they could monetize it. And then they would give you, I don't remember what the revenue breakdown was, but they'd give you a portion of the revenue that your video creates on their channel. So that's how you did it. It wasn't on your...
Just for those listening, because you probably weren't around then, you had to send I would have to send my videos to, let's just take this example of, I would have to send them to Goldy. Mm-hmm. Goldy would have to upload them for me. Mm-hmm. Goldy would get paid out, and then I would have to go to Goldy and get paid. And I give you a imagine if that was you back then?
Yeah, exactly. But here's the thing: you think about it, how crazy that is. Bad. Oh God, that's terrible. But then nobody was getting paid for videos. I was getting paid to make video game videos. I was living the dream, right? And I was like, this is the coolest thing. I don't care. This is what an opportunity. And then they were like, oh, we're gonna partner your channels. So now you're going to be a part of our network, our Machinima network. We're going to partner you. We're still going to take a percentage, but now you're going to be able to make money off all of your videos. And that was when I was like, I'm moving out. I'm getting my own place. And still, I was essentially paycheck to paycheck because I was still getting paid every 3 months. Even then I wasn't even... Granted, I was 20, but I wasn't even putting enough money away for taxes because I didn't know about any of that stuff at the time, right? So that came back to bite me in the butt later on. But yeah, that was kind of when it all changed, and then it just kept going up and up and up, and now it's ridiculous.
Okay, so I was going to say you've been in the game just over a decade, but it's not over a decade. But that's not even fair because it's 15 years. Yeah, you've been in the game.
Nearly 15, yeah.
So,
15 years.
You've seen a lot of different arcs. And now I think, you're kind of firing on all cylinders, not just on professionally, but also in life. You've got incredible fiance, you've got your kid Cohen, you've got 3 channels on YouTube, you got short form, you're going live 6 days a week. There's all the activations you're doing around that. You just scored a super cool partnership as well. There's a lot going on in Goldy's world right now. But it was a long journey to get there. You weren't doing all of this back then.
No.
You were starting with the YouTube channel. You were building that. You were starting to make money. How did you decide to kind of expand, and how methodical were you about going from, okay, I'm a YouTube channel, I'm putting out content. Did your content cadence change? Did you think about different games? What was the... the rollout of, and how did you get to where you are today?
Yeah, so I mean, there wasn't a channel I could go and watch and find out, oh, what are they doing? I had to come up with it on my own. And so what I decided, and this is when, this is a couple years, and I would say around 2012, 2013 is when my YouTube channels really started to they grew faster than I could keep up with. And that was that was when GTA 5 came out. And I decided, you know what, on this channel, my GoldGlove TV channel, I'm gonna make funny, like friend-oriented party game videos where it's just me and my friends playing whatever game. GTA 5, we played. That was when Gary's Mod Prop Hunt got huge. Oh man, I can't even remember. I feel like it's so long ago. We had a series where we literally played Skate 3, so it didn't matter what the game was. Any game could come out. And I would have a group of friends, and we would all play the game together. We would all record our own perspective, and then everybody would upload essentially the same video, right? But just from everyone's different perspective. And that's just how we did things. And it just blew up because, somebody would be watching Chilled Chaos's channel and be like, oh, that guy, whoa, that dude's ridiculous. He's funny. Who's that guy? Oh, that's GoldGlove. I'll go check out GoldGlove. Or they'd be watching my channel and be like, who's that guy with the crazy voice? Oh, that's Gassy Mexican. I'm gonna go check Gassy Mexican out. And that was when we realized, like, as a group, we could just explode together. And then so I had another idea for another channel because I'm still like, on top of making funny videos and stuff, I'm a gamer. Like, I really just enjoy playing single player games and just, playing through all these amazing, things that have created for us over time, over the years. And so I was like, I'll make a Let's Play channel so I can play all those single player games, and it's just going to be me in front of the camera talking and playing through a game. And those channels just took off. And then I was like, okay, I guess I'll do a vlog channel. So I made a vlog channel, and I was doing vlogging, and people like that. So, and I just, honestly, there wasn't a roadmap, and I just kind of did what I wanted to do. Like, I didn't follow any, I wasn't methodical about it. I was just like, this game's out, let's make a video on this. And that's all I did. And I just kept going and going and going. I mean, but the big thing for me is like, I would be aware of a game coming out. So I'd be like, okay, a game drops tonight at 9. This is before I had a lot of the responsibilities and obligations that I do now. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna get some energy drinks. As soon as that game goes live at 9, I'm staying up all night. I'm recording like 6 hours. And then as soon as I'm done recording, I'm editing them and I'm uploading them so I could be the first person with a Let's Play up. Like, that was the big thing for me. Like, I wanted videos. If you could get videos up first, that was huge then. I don't know if it's still the same because I'll be honest, I don't really have my my toes in the YouTube water as much as I used to. But yeah, that was kind of how I played the game back then, and it worked out. It really did. I don't know. My videos just had great success during those years.
It is interesting because you say there's not, like, you didn't have a roadmap, but there's still so much intention. Like, you talked about starting off with the montages, you talked about the Let's Plays, you talked about the fact that you got your buddies together and created like different perspectives. Mm-hmm. So it seems like even though you were in the moment having fun, it still seems like, if we look back on it in hindsight, there was a level of intentionality or like style of content that you were creating or focusing on.
Yeah, but it was all trial and error back then. This was before we really knew what people wanted to watch, and now, I mean, the style of content that people like to watch, it does change. I think it's still changed, and in my opinion, the whole multi-perspective, like, party game where you have like 5 people playing some silly game, it's not as big as it once was. Like, people don't seem to be into that style of content as much, which is fine, but that's just how the trends change, right? So we just kind of would follow the trends, and we would just see like, oh, this guy made this big video on this game. I mean, I remember when I saw Minecraft for the first time, and Scene Anders made it, and I was like, that game looks so stupid. There's no way that game's going to be big. I wasn't right all the time. I was very dead wrong on that one. So yeah, I mean, but we just trialed error. Like, we would try something, that didn't work, we won't do it. And then, we'd find something that worked, and we would just do it over and over and over and over. So
what do you find with the medium like you obviously started on YouTube, a long history with YouTube. Twitch comes around. Like, was that the first time you went live, or did you try it on another platform before?
So I actually I streamed on Ustream a few times, and I actually streamed video games on Justin TV. So I used Flash Media Encoder, and I was streaming literally like Call of Duty gameplay without, like, I didn't have a microphone. It was terrible looking. It was just Call of Duty 4 gameplay with audio. That was all it was. You couldn't even really interact with me. Like, it was just my gameplay, right? So I did that a few times, and then I really focused on YouTube for a really long time, and then I started kind of seeing streaming again. Like, I don't know, I don't remember when it was, but I just was like, I'm like, I don't know, I feel like streaming today, just like trying it out. And so I think what really got me into streaming was I started streaming Black Ops 2 and Daisy. Actually, no, that's not true. I started with Gears 3 GBs. Every night, like, I would make videos all day, and then my friend Vern, who I mentioned earlier, he would get on because he worked this crazy night schedule, and we would stay up all night playing Gears 3 game battles, and I would just stream it because I was like,
was it a nostalgia thing for you, or was it because you knew that the biggest portion of your audience like loved your Gear stuff?
Oh, I never played Gears really, like, because I loved it. I always played it because I loved it. It wasn't because like, it never got as many views as other games. It was just, that was the game that I always fell in love with. So yeah, well, that's kind of how it started. We just streamed Gears 3 GBs, and I had a potato computer, and the stream looked terrible, and then I slowly realized that, like, I enjoyed the live aspect of content creation more than I did videos, because I didn't have to upload a video and work on this and be like, man, I hope people like it, and then the comments roll through and I'll be like, oh, that's devastating, they didn't like this one, or it didn't do as well as I hoped. It's like, you get the live interaction, you get to, and I like the social aspect. I feel like I'm a pretty social person, so being able to talk to my community one-to-one, face-to-face it's just so much better.
Do you find is it the feedback loop? Like, right away, like, what's a good stream, what's not a good stream? You're not having to wait a week. Like,
yeah, exactly.
It helps.
Oh, I mean, chat will let you know if it's a resident sleeper stream, right away. That, they can be loud about that, but but it can go the other way. It's like, you look down, something happens, and you look down, and your stream's just having, like, you can tell they're having a good time. They're like, oh my god, that's so funny. They're, and that feels good. You want to do that, continue to do that.
This is a question that I think you're in a unique perspective to talk about, which is what I've often found true is that a lot of streamers, so you like start with streaming and have maybe been streaming for a while, are then trying to figure out YouTube. They're like trying to figure out short form. It's like a new skill for them. They're trying to lean into that. And then you might have YouTubers that kind of become streamers. But there's also this kind of arc in life where you don't have if you're in like school or things like that, or you've got a job, you don't have as much time. And starting off on YouTube or starting off on short form might be better because it's just easier to work with like a crazy schedule.
Yep, absolutely.
Then you fall in love with live.
Yep.
And you just can become obsessed with the interactivity of it, and it also monetizes like comparatively, really well.
It does.
And you then kind of grow, you get older in life, like, and you then have these other responsibilities that start creeping back in, which is like, oh wow, I've kind of neglected my social life for a while. I wonder what it's like to have a social life. Like maybe I have a significant other. Oh, maybe I might want a kid. Yep. And our industry's still young, but I think a lot of people are going through that phase, which is they're like life is hitting them now. And I think you've got this unique perspective where going live 6 days a week, running 3 YouTube channels is very demanding. And the live part is probably the most demanding. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is there a trend back to being YouTube first or like VOD first just because of the schedule?
I've always kind of had this thing in the back of my mind where it's like, if for some reason I can't stream anymore, I don't know why that would ever happen, right? But I've always thought, you know what? If I can kind of shift my focus back to YouTube. Like I could, if I needed to, if I really wanted to. But yeah, I mean, I had to come to the point where I had to decide what was more important to me. There's not enough time in the day. There's just no longer I don't have the time in the day. I now wake up at between 6 and 7 every day to take care of my son. My fiance and we kind of do a rotating schedule because she streams in the mornings and then I stream in the afternoon, evenings. So I take care of our son until about 2 p.m. and then we swap. And then as soon as we swap, I have to go live and I stream until 9 p.m. usually. So that is my schedule. So and then I have to sleep. So there's no time to edit videos. There's no time to record videos. I don't have time for that. So I had to kind of make that decision, is like, what do I want? What is more important to me, and what do I want to focus on? And for me, because I am more passionate about it, I decided, okay, Twitch is going to be my number one. And, I'm not going to neglect YouTube. Like so I have a team of editors and they take my VODs, they create videos, and occasionally I do send them, raw footage if I have some time. But the direction I went, my main focus, and I try to tell my viewers this, is not YouTube. And, it sucks because it used to be, and you build this entire channel, you build this giant community, and they feel like maybe they've been kind of forgotten about. But unfortunately, I'm one person. I'm one man, and I don't have enough time in the day. If I could run the YouTube channels myself and stream full time and take care of my son and do all the other things I could do, if I could do it all myself, I would. But I also want to stay sane. So, it's just it's a hard decision to make. I feel like I tried to put off the decision for too long, and I suffered. I suffered in different ways because of it.
Yeah, I think we have to realize our most finite resource is time, and you have to be extremely intentional about how you use it. Especially the older you get, it does feel like if you start creating content in your late teens or like early 20s, there's like this 10-year window, because by the time you hit like 30, early 30s, you're starting to go through the life question, and like these priorities are changing. You need to reach a level of success within that window to set yourself up well enough to have the other parts of life that are really fulfilling, family, etc.
Exactly.
And you've been able to do that, which is phenomenal. But I think it's a realization for a lot of people that you have the window. Yeah. It's not to say that you cannot do it in your 30s or 40s or 50s.
Right. Your window could be at a different time, but yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. For me, it was really hard to change habits. It was like, for all of my 20s, my habits were just content creation, YouTube, streaming. Nothing else really mattered. Obviously I did other things, and I was in relationships, but like I was just one track minded, like have to get these YouTube videos up, have to get them out on time. Like, sorry guys, can't do that. I have to do this. For 10 years I did that, maybe more. And then it was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. If I want to have a family and have children and, get married and do all the things that I need to do, that I want to do to make my life more fulfilling. And so that was when I had to really kind of bring things back down to a normal functional level.
And how important was setting up the systems around you to do that? You mentioned you got a team, and that's you're a business at the end of the day, and you have to think about outsourcing and learning, and that's uncomfortable. How was that process been for you over the last 10, 15 years of like learning to get comfortable with extending out parts of the business? So
I think, and I still struggle with this, it's really hard for me to give someone else creative control, and especially with my voice, it's really hard for me. It's something that like, and this is me being like the very cocky, arrogant content creator that, I by myself had a lot of success. I truly feel like there's nobody who can replicate my voice, like with my content, which is probably for a lot of content creators, right? Like no one knows you like you do. And no one knows how to like portray you in a video or the way you want to be portrayed so the video's better. I hopefully that makes sense. So for me, it's like I'm very, very picky, and I think somewhere along the lines I had to like dial that back. It's like, okay, well, it's not, I can't make the videos, so I gotta relax a little bit. That's really hard for me, I think still. Like I used to, I kind of forgot I did this. I used to like go through streams, and I would be streaming, and this is when I was still editing all my stuff, and I would be streaming and something would happen in the stream, and I would already be almost editing the footage in my head. Like I would already know like, oh my God, that would be so funny if I did this. Like, like that's kind of how the mentality I had. So I was constantly working. It was just like, okay. And then when I went back to that footage, I could edit it because I already kind of had an idea of what I was going to do. And now I don't even do that anymore. Like I finish my stream, and my beautiful editors, they take the footage and, they work their magic. But, so it's just, man, it's just so different now. I don't know. It's very hard to change your like the habits you have, that you tell yourself that you did every single day for almost a decade. But now it's like, all right, I'm off the stream. Now it's back on baby duty. Now it's all about my son and getting everything done for him and my fiance. And so it's just very different.
Do you have someone that thinks about that for you? Like, is maybe like a business manager or someone who's more critical on that side now that can help give you more direct feedback?
I mean, I still, my editing team, I mean, they have producers. Essentially, they have someone who watches the content and will kind of lay it out for the editors, and they'll put together little, they do all the creative stuff behind the scenes now. And obviously, sometimes they'll send me a video and I'll watch it and I'll give them some feedback, and they're so easy to work with because they'll fix it immediately. So, and then, the more you do that, the more they learn your style, and that's kind of how you have to work that, and you tweak it a little bit. But I mean, here's the thing, like all the biggest YouTubers in the world, they're not editing their videos anymore. They have these teams.
There's armies. There's just teams behind it.
Exactly. There's just giant teams behind it. And that's not how it was for the longest time, because it's so hard to give up that creative control when you build something by yourself. But you have to, like, you literally have to, because you don't have time for it. You just don't have enough time.
Mr. Beast is over 50 people on his team.
Oh, I believe it.
So there's just a reality there that you need to, and it's so uncomfortable. I faced that with Sal, that we're building pipeline and growing the company. It's hard, things that I've done since day zero. It's so hard to give up parts of that. And like, I'm constantly fighting myself to give it up. And over time, things get better, and they end up doing a much better job than you probably could do, especially in the timeline, like, which is great. It's just, that's a process, and you got to be okay with that process.
Right.
Well, you've been, again, we touched on this, 10, 15 years. You've been in this journey. You're pumping out so much content, and you're balancing the life thing, which for what it's worth, congratulations again.
Thank you.
On finally putting down, getting a fiance with Steph, and
a long time
being
coming.
a dad.
Thank you.
A lot of content creators look at you and go, fuck, he's got it figured out. Like, his life is kind of, he's got all the parts, he's got the success, he's got the systems, he's got real world. Like, but how do you feel?
Oh God. I feel like I don't feel like I have it figured out. I feel like I'm slowly figuring it out. I feel like, if it wasn't for the people in my life, I wouldn't have it figured out. My fiance, Steph, she's been a huge, if it wasn't for her, I think I would probably still be editing all 3 channels. And like, she was the one that really got me back. Like, let's get you back on track a little bit with life, because man, I at one point, I think I was just lost. Like, we kind of talk about it behind the scenes, but it was like, I wasn't Brennon anymore. I was just GoldGlove, like, at all times. So it wasn't you know what I mean? There was no difference. It was just never off. And so she kind of helped me rein that back a little bit. And so, that was a big change, but no, I don't have it figured out. I mean, if it looks like that, I guess I'm doing something right, but, no, I mean, it's a learning process. I'm still learning everything. I mean, I've been around for a long time, and I've learned a lot, and I think I know a lot about, this industry and streaming and YouTube and content creation in general. And not even that, but just like the corporate side of things too. It's just like how the sponsorships work and how to brand yourself in a way where you're, comfortable for these brands to work with. I think that was the big thing for me, is like, I'm not a PG streamer. I'm not at all. Like, I say some horrible things that I don't think any children or really family brands should be listening to. But I'm smart about when and where, and I don't know. I think that was really the big thing for me. It's like, my numbers have fluctuated so much over the years, but the reason I've found such long-term success is because I've just branded myself well. And so I've gotten a lot of opportunities in that sense, just working with a lot of brands and just I continue to work with them. So I mean, that's really my main focus now. It's like I stream because I love it, and I stream, that's my main focus, obviously. But I mean, the only reason I'm able to do what I do, and live the way that I'm able to live is because I still can work with these brands and get those kind of deals. So that's really
great.
That's
great
the big
point.
piece.
It's just, the long-term relationships you built over the years. Is there anything you would say to young Brennon? I'll not say Goldy, but young Brennon, back 15 years ago, starting this journey? Because there's a lot of people listening to this that are much earlier on their journey. They're either just starting or they are, 6 months, maybe a year in at this point. What would you have said to yourself back then?
Man, that's slow down a little bit. I don't know. I want to tell myself that, but then I'm like, maybe I wouldn't have seen the success if I had slowed down. So I don't know. That one's hard for me. I take care of your body and yourself mentally. I think that would be the big one. It's take care of your mental health, because that it just wears on a person after a long time. So I think that's really the only thing. I think maybe the other thing is can I say be the first person to play Minecraft? Just give them the sports almanac from Back to the Future. No, if I told 15 years ago, Goldy, Brennon, anything of if I said, hey, this is where you are 15 years from now, I would have laughed in my own face. No, there's no way. You're not. You're lying to me. I was just making Gears of War montages in my mom's house. So there's no way that no, I wouldn't have believed it.
That's interesting. I think is one of the things that you mentioned is just the perspective of it doesn't happen overnight, and don't be filled into having these expectations. You mentioned on 3 months, I've not seen this money or whatever. There's just a zooming out and realizing that this is a long journey, and it takes time. And if you're expecting instant results, you're likely going to be disappointed.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, sometimes here's the thing though about streaming, and it's really interesting, is I've seen a lot of streamers who I've never seen them really blow up, but they're successful, right? They're not Tim the Tap Man, but they're still successful, and they're still doing great for themselves. I think really at this point in my content creation career, I think it's more important to just create a dedicated, even if it's small, community. A dedicated small community who wants to come and hang out with you every day is way more important than, in my opinion, having one video that blows up, and then, or one stream that does really well and then it plateaus. You just want to continuously build, and it's gonna be a grind. I mean, there's a reason all the streamers say back to the grind. I think looking from the outside, seeing a streamer who just plays video games, the grind, oh god, life's so hard. But it's we say that because it's consistency. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in a week. It might take years, actual years. But if you're in it for the right reasons and you have the patience and the dedication, it can work.
Goldy, that's a great note for us to wrap on. Thank you so much for sharing your journey. And honestly, I think you're a great role model. And I know you say you don't have it figured out and all that kind of stuff. I just think it is awesome for other creators to see someone like yourself have strong relationships in the space after spending so long in it and having a family. And I know that's not easy. And I know there's sacrifices you're making behind the scenes that not everyone gets to see. But kudos to you on, building such a long, durable career, kick-ass community, and now building an incredible family.
I really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for having me on. This was a great talk. Amazing.
Cheers. Thanks, man. Catch you.
All right.